Here we want to find dy dx given that we have x cubed plus 4x times y. So we know we have a product rule. Minus y squared equals 5x plus 2. So I'm just going to take the derivative piece by piece and keep in mind that we have a product rule here. So we have a first times a second. So the derivative of x cubed is 3x squared, not a derivative of a y term, so it does not need a dy dx. Now for the product rule, the derivative of 4x is 4. There's the derivative of the first, gets multiplied by the original second. All we did was take the derivative of 4x, so this does not get a dy dx. So we did the derivative of the first times the original second, plus now we're going to take the derivative of the second. The derivative of 1y is just going to be 1, and it needs a dy dx. I'm going to put that at the end, because we took the derivative of y term. The derivative of 1y is 1 dy dx. Derivative of the first gets multiplied, derivative of the second gets multiplied by that original first. So there's our full product rule. Let's double check it before we move on. Derivative of the first term, 4x is 4, original second is y, plus derivative of the second term is 1 dy dx times the original first is 4x. So it looks like we are good to go. Now we're on to the derivative of negative y squared, which is going to be negative 2y, needs a dy dx, equals the derivative of 5x is 5, and the derivative of 2 is 0. So now I have the derivative of every single term. I can choose to keep the dy dx on the left or move every dy dx term to the right. This time I guess I will keep it on the left. It doesn't matter though. So if I want to keep dy dx on the left, and when I'm looking at this first term, that tells me I have to move that first term. It doesn't have a dy dx, and I randomly decided I'm going to keep my dy dx on the left side. So I'm going to subtract the 3x squared over that 5 is going to stay over on the right, because it doesn't have a dy dx, and I'm subtracting the 3x squared to go over with it. The next term also does not have a dy dx, so I'm going to subtract it over to the other side. So minus 4y. And then these two terms have a dy dx, so I'm going to keep them. Over here I have 1 times 4x, which is just going to be 4x dy dx. And then I have a minus 2y dy dx. My two terms that I keep on that left side. Again, that 5 stays on the right. We subtracted 3x squared over, and we subtracted 4y over. So it looks like we are good to go to try to get dy dx by itself. Now we're going to factor out dy dx and say what it's multiplied by. So dy dx is multiplied by 4x in the first term and a minus 2y in the second term. And then on the right side, we still keep 5 minus 3x squared minus 4y. Our last step to getting dy dx by itself is to divide by this coefficient. Divide by 4x minus 2y. And there we have our dy dx all by itself. I could rewrite the dy dx here. There's the derivative of that function.